Hello all, welcome to the DevOps Planet. In my previous video, we have already seen how we can create images using a running Docker container and also from a Docker file. In this video, we will see that how we can store those images in a centralized repository, that is container registry. So for example, when we write code files, we write down code for an application, we store that on a version controlling tool. That might be a Git, that might be a Bitbucket or other version controlling system. So in the same way, we can store our Docker images in a centralized repository that is called Docker Container Registry. So in this video, we will store our images in the AWS ECR, that is AWS Elastic Container Registry. So let's see how we can do that. So first, let me create an image. So first, let me check whether I have any image or not in my local system. So currently I don't have any image and here I have one Docker file. So we have already seen that how we can write the Docker file and what this Docker file is doing in my previous videos. So I will create an image from this Docker file. So I'm executing the command, that is Docker build command, to create the image from the Docker file, and I'm passing the name here as demo and passing the image tag as version 1. So now it will create a image on my local system and the name will be demo and version will be 1. So we can see that it has create one image. So now let me check whether I have image or not. Command is sudo docker images. Yeah, so I can see I have one image on my local system. Now to set up the ECR, first we need to log in into the AWS console. So I have already logged in my AWS account. Here you can select the container. So this is the service that is this is the service Elastic Container Registry. So click on this. It will redirect you to the ECR page. Here you can see create a repository. So we will create a repo here, and in that repo we will store our image. So we can create private type or public type. So private is managed by IAM and repository policy permissions. We need authentication to pull and push the images. But the public is, as we can see, that it is publicly visible and accessible for image pool. So I'm creating the private image and I'm passing the name as DevOps underscore planet. This is my repo name, or let me pass the repo also. So this is my repo name. Now let me create the repository. Okay, so now it has created the repository. This is our repo, and if you click on this repo, currently we can see there is no image. Now the second thing is you need to push the image, your local machine Docker image in this repository. So for that, first we need to install and configure AWS CLI user on your local system. So for that, I have already prepared one video and you can find the URL of that video in the description of this one. So you can go through that video if you are not familiar that how we can create our AWS CLI user and authenticate that. Now, if you see a button here that view push commands, so click on this, you will see it is giving some command. So the first command is to authenticate our ECR on my local system. The second command which we can see that I already execute to create a Docker image. The third command which is it is using a Docker tag command. So Docker tag command is basically we can say it is a copy command that will copy my image on my local system with a new tag and new version. And the third and the final is Docker push command. So before doing this, I need to add the permission to my AWS CLI user. So for this, let me go to the IAM page, click on users. So this is the user which I created in my last video, and I can see there is no policy attached to this user. So let me add permission here. I am attaching directly a policy, and here you can search the container. So here I'm passing this policy, Amazon EC2 Container Registry full access. So my user can read and write everything on that ECR container registry. Click on next and add permissions. So I have added this policy to my user. So now I'm good with this. Now now I'm going back to my terminal. So I can see this is the image on my local system, and currently also I do not have any uh, Docker container on my local system. So now let's execute these commands one by one. So the first command to login. So let me copy this command, and because I'm using sudo user, so I need to pass sudo. And also before the Docker login command, I need to pass the sudo here. So via this command, my user will authenticate to the AWS ECR repository. So you can see that login succeeds. So now we are logged in into the AWS ECR from my local system. Now the second command, which is to Docker build command. So I have already executed this command, Docker build command, and I have created one image, that is demo version 1. So I'm skipping this command. The third is to tag this command, to tag the Docker image. So it's a like a copy command. You can understand in similar terms. So here we need to pass the version which we want to tag the image name. So I want to tag the demo version 1, or I want to copy the demo version image on my local system with a new image name. So here you can see that it has given you one name here, and this is the name which you have to pass. You cannot change this, and you cannot modify it. You can definitely change the version, but you cannot change this value, that is the image name, because that's how our Docker identify that to which repository this image need to be pushed. So you can definitely change the version, because that is the beauty of Docker. We can maintain multiple versions, but you cannot change the name. So I am passing it here as version 1. So it has copied the image on my local system. So basically it tracked the image, but in the simple terms, we can understand that it has copied the image. So now if I see, I have two images, and both the images have same image ID, same time, same size, because both are, we can say in simply words, the copy of each other. Now the final command which I need to execute is push this Docker image. So this is the command which I need to use here: sudo docker push, and I need to pass this name and version 1, because I created version 1. So once I execute this command, it will, so you see it refer the repository. So it already identified the repository based on the image name. So once I execute this command, it started the pushing that image on my Docker container registry. That is that is AWS ECR. So this will take some time. So let it be. So it has pushed the images now. So let me check on the AWS ECR. So if I refresh this, so I can see the image here, and this is the image tag, that is version 1. So that's how you can push the image. So now let me list all the images. Now let me delete all these images from my local system. So I am deleting the Docker 1 version, and also I am deleting this image, and I'm using the image ID this. So if I execute sudo docker images command, there is no image. So now I have deleted all the image from my local system, but the image which I create is available onto my container registry, that is Elastic Container Registry. So I can push this image, and I can pull this image on my local system from the ECR, and I can launch a container using this image. So again, I will execute the docker pull command for this, sudo docker pull, and I will pass the image name and image tag here. Now it will pull this image from the AWS ECR to my local system. So as you can see that it has downloaded a new image. So earlier there was no image on my system, but now if I see, I have one image on my local system, and this is the image is it downloaded from the AWS ECR. And you can also launch one container using this image. So again, the command is sudo docker run So this is the name of the container, and I need to pass the image name and the version, that is version 1. So it has launched one container using this image. So you can see it has launched one container. This is the container name, and this is the image name and tag which has been used to launch this container. So that is how we can push our image and pull our image. We can store our image on a centralized location so that when we work in a team, when we work on a project, anyone can use those images. Those images can be used in our CI/CD pipelines and any other places. So I hope you like this video. Thanks for watching this.